Hey everyone, my name is Peyton, and this is part 6 of a video series where I create a haunted house inside of Unreal Engine 5. If you have not watched the previous 5 episodes, feel free to check them out below in the description. But in this video, what I want to do is really get into some of the more detailed oriented parts of the environment overall and kind of refining stuff a bit more. So as you saw, I just really quickly threw in a bark material that I made in Substance Designer. I wanted to get that in there just as an indication for the bark. And then another thing that I was kind of wanting to immediately kind of tweak is the lighting overall. So I think it was still in a very block out state, and I was just curious about some different directionality as well as some intensity with it. So I wanted to kind of get in there, add a little bit more to the intensity, adjust it a bit more as well with the directions. So that's what I did. And then of course, as you see, I also wanted to get rid of those green windows because right now they're a little too distracting. We're gonna bring it back in with some different glow, but I really wanted to, just kind of bring it back to basics for now with that. So now what I want to actually dive in majorly within this video is getting a lot more of the ground blends and transitions a lot more refined. So I have my ground material, which we've already had in here, at least the dirt material, and I wanted to refine it a little bit more. So I have vertex painting kind of set up with it, and with that vertex painting, what we're gonna have is a mud material, basically like a puddle, which is kind of just the absence of a lot of material information, and so it's just giving it a really nice like response in a way. And then of course we are going to also add a little bit of geometry on top of that. So as you see here, I've already started to paint in some of that mud along the edges of my grass, along the middle parts of my road and all. And I think one thing to keep in mind is what's really nice about vertex painting is that it kind of breaks up the proceduralness of it because you are doing it manually by hand and all. And so you're getting a lot more control and you can be more purposeful with kind of the look that you're going for. And with these right now, I'm kind of throwing out a couple of puddles, but one thing that I might be struggling with is just they're all the same exact size all the way across this road. And generally like there's, deeper pockets of like big dips and little dips. And so I think the big thing to try to go back with is, okay, now we have it kind of blocked out. Let's try to get a more refinement with like large scale, medium scale, small scale puddles as well. So the same thing that I kind of think about with other elements of environment art is stuff that I even put into, vertex painting and trying to think about the purpose and kind of the motivation behind my vertex painting that's going on with this. And so that's what we kind of have here, and I'm bringing back some of that mud around the puddles as well. So what we're going to do next is actually I'm going to take some geometry rocks, which are actually really low poly that I kind of made, and I just want to basically use the foliage brush. So same way we were kind of placing out some of the grass and everything, you can also do that for any type of prototype. So I made a lower poly rock and I'm kind of bringing that in just like we did with the grass. And this is really nice because, as I said, you can get some depth, some 3D elements in here without it being super expensive with like any form of like a tessellation or like parallaxing and all. And so you keep them somewhat low poly, and you can basically paint them around, fill in some areas, and they can be pretty nice for some little details. And I think this is a really great way to think about where you can save with your environment just on cost and optimization. If you can get the read of 3D from, of course, actual 3D, I think that could be really nice. So it's just another great way to like just save on some of the more expensive shader stuff that we could be adding in there instead. So while we're on the topic of savings, I have actually partnered with Mint Mobile to bring savings to every one of you watching this video. Have you ever thought, why in the world is my wireless bill so high? What is your money paying for? Speed, coverage, data, access to 5G, unlimited talk and text, or even mobile hotspots? Well, Mint Mobile offers all of these features for as low as $15 per month. They are built on the nation's largest 5G network and keep costs low because they sell direct to you online and cut out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? Go to trymintmobile.com/Peyton Varney, which is also linked in my description below, to get premium wireless for $15 a month. I've been trying it out for a couple months, and while carrying out my busy day-to-day tasks, I honestly couldn't tell a difference in speed or performance while connected to Mint Mobile's network. I was even recently at a large sporting event, and my phone that's using the Mint Mobile network was the only one that had signal and a really strong speed at that. I've honestly been impressed with Mint Mobile's network so far, and think you would really enjoy it as well. You may think that it is difficult to switch your service, but Mint Mobile makes switching easy. Thanks to digital eSIM cards, which most phones now have, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. If your phone doesn't have an eSIM, Mint will ship you a new SIM card for free. I set up my phone using an eSIM, and it honestly was extremely easy and took less than 5 minutes. So if you are ready to save some money and be able to use that extra cash towards game development tools, education, or your software subscriptions, go to my link, trymintmobile.com/Peyton Varney, which is also, again, linked down below in my description to check it out. Now, getting back to the actual environment, as you saw, I basically just continue to put a couple of the rocks in just to fill out that space for now. And what I wanted to do also is play around with the color of the house. I think I was just wanting to see, like, if I kind of desaturated or even lowered down the white values of it, how would that kind of play into the space itself. And I think in general, still like the white that we're having here. Of course, I need to further the actual kind of materials that we have on there. But I think, yeah, we'll kind of figure that out at a later date. So now what I want to do is, we've already kind of put some grass around and all, but those details with the rocks and the ground and everything else is really making me want to get some further grass kind of randomly growing throughout the road. And as you see, the rocks are helping, but it still needs a little bit more. And so I think the smaller grass kind of growing up randomly, maybe it's not heavily trafficked where people are driving or walking across this, then you might get, this water and this dirt combination all pretty much, making just grass growing in multiple places. So I think, yeah, just putting in some sparse, a little shorter grass, still using the same exact assets that we did before, but kind of painting them in to, around maybe the middle parts of the road and everything, I think can add a really nice little detail. So, and I do also want to, as you see, kind of soften that transition to the sides a little bit more, have the overlap between the grass and the mud, or what we have over there, kind of, yeah, just a little bit softer. And the main goal is for all this to blend together just harmoniously and have a just a much just congruent type of ground and transition between all of these different elements, so that way you don't really think about it and it's more of the focus on the building and all that kind of makes up that. But yeah, just continuing to paint in some of these details around my bushes and everything. Want to start to get this figured out. Of course, kind of moving into the next video, I'm probably going to dive more into, replacing some of these trees, replacing some of these bushes. And so getting this first pass of some further details of the grass and really trying to get a much more defined look with my road, I think is the main goal here. So yeah, I really enjoy this process because, like I said, it's very just hands-on. It's all manual. Of course you could do it other ways, but I like the aspect of being able to paint it on and kind of try to tell a story through how I'm painting my grass and my other assets on the space. And so yeah, kind of with that, we have our grass now starting to get figured out, and I want to, as I said, move in with the next video into some of the other vegetation. So yeah, thank you for watching this video and hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.